भगवन्नारायणाभिमत अनुरूप स्वरूप रूप गुण विभवैश्वर्य शीलाध्यनवतिकादिशय असंख्येय कल्याण गुणगणां पद्मवनालयां भगवतीं श्रियं देवीं नित्यानपायिनीं निरवध्यां देवदेव दिव्यमहिषीं अखिल जगन्मातरम् अस्मन्मातरम् अशरण्य शरण्याम् अनन्य शरणः शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। लक्ष्म्या सह ऋषिकेशः देव्या कारुण्य रूपया रक्षक सर्वसिद्धान्ते वेदान्तेऽपि च गीयते। उल्लास पल्लवित पालित सप्तलोकी निर्वाह कोरकित नेम कटाक्ष लीलाम् श्रीरंग हर्म्यतल मंगल दीपरेखाम् श्रीरंगराजमहिषीं श्रियमाश्रयामः। लक्ष्म्या सह ऋषिकेशः देव्या कारुण्य रूपया रक्षक सर्वसिद्धान्ते वेदान्तेऽपि च गीयते। Our Shastras categorically declare Rishikesha together with Sri Mahalakshmi protect us. Lakshmya saha Rishikesha Devya Karunya Rupaya. Sri Devi, who is the very embodiment of compassion, together with Bhagavan, are our protectors. Bhagavan is called Rishikesha here in the shloka. Rishikesha, one who gains mastery over his indriyas, one who has control over the indriyas, not his indriyas, but our indriyas. Whether we like it or not, we are all controlled by our senses and our mind. The only way to break free from the shackles of our senses and mind is to submit our senses under the control of Rishikesha. In this world, we think there are many diseases, many patients, many doctors, many medicines, and every medicine has many dosages. But in reality, there is only one disease, samsara. There is only one patient, samsari. There is only one doctor, Vaidyo Narayano Harihi. There is only one medicine, Sharanagati. And the dosage of this medicine is also only once. Sharanagati is to be performed only once. The first time it is a medicine, thereafter it is an elixir. And when this Sharanagati is performed to this universal doctor, who is not ordinary Narayana, he is Sriman Narayana, who is ever united with Sri. That is why the Shastras say, Lakshmya saha Rishikeshaha Devya Karunya Rupaya. Bhagavan is compassionate, but the source of his compassion is Sri Devi, Sri Mahalakshmi. And it is because of her compassion that he grants us all the rewards, including liberation. After all, she is the foremost Sahadharmacharini. Bhagavan creates this universe based on the principle of yajna. And he recommends that every action that needs to be performed has to be in the form of a yajna. He himself leads by example. And he constantly performs yajna. Every act that he performs is a yajna. He is Rakshaka. And the protection that he does is a yajna. And that yajna can only be fulfilled with the support of his Sahadharmacharini, Sri Mahalakshmi. The great Acharya Parashara Bhattar beautifully declares, Ullasa Pallavita Palita Saptaloki Nirvaha Korakitanema Kataksha Leela Sriranga Harmyatala Mangala Deepareka Srirangaraja Mahishim Shriyam Ashrayamaha. Shriyam Ashrayamaha. He takes refuge in the Universal Mother. And he says, Ullasa Pallavita Palita Saptaloki Nirvaha Korakitanema Kataksha Leela. He says one should not mistake her eye glances, her eyelids opening and closing gently to be mere ordinary twinkling of her eyes, he says. With gentle eye movements, with compassionate glances, Sri Mahalakshmi achieves everything. She is the one who supports the Lord in the creation of all the 7 lokas and the protection thereof. Therefore, he says, Srirangaraja Mahishi Shriyamashaya Maha. Therefore, one needs to necessarily take refuge in her in order to gain Bhagavan's mercy. See Mahalakshmi. Who is Mahalakshmi? Who is she? The moment we invoke Mahalakshmi, the first thing that comes to our mind is wealth. But unfortunately, we have a very limited conception of wealth. Wealth to us primarily is material wealth. But wealth stands for a lot more. There are several sources of wealth. Wealth can be fortune. Wealth can be prosperity. Wealth can be health, knowledge, power, progeny, courage, success. That is the reason why Shri is worshipped through several forms. She manifests popularly the known 8 manifestations of Shri, Ashtalakshmi, and she is worshipped through these manifestations. But what is key to be understood here, while wealth is a great blessing, her blessing is the greatest wealth. Her blessing is the greatest wealth. So, if a patient does not value a medicine, then he cannot come out of his suffering. If a patient values medicine but does not take it, even then he cannot come out of his suffering. So similarly, Her blessings need to be counted. We need to count our blessings. Mahalakshmi blesses us with abundance, abundance of everything, whatever we need, all kinds of wealth, for only one thing, so that we can make her blessings count. We need to necessarily count our blessings, but more importantly, we need to make the blessings count. And how do we do that? The only way to do that is to ask her for the true wealth, the wealth of all wealths, the highest wealth, Mokshananda. That is, after all, what she's also waiting for each and everyone to ask. Material wealth, obviously, is necessary to some extent, but not sufficient in order to fulfill the purpose of this life. And therefore, she gives us the fortune. Fortune, incidentally, the word is very interestingly structured. Fortune. She gives us fortune for tune, for tuning ourselves to Bhagavan, for playing only one tune, the tune, his tune, and nothing else. The purpose of fortune that is bestowed on us is for us to play only his tunes in his life. And when we dance to his tunes, life becomes, there is only abundance in life. And therefore, while she is bestower of wealth of all kinds, even for the wealth of all wealth, Moksha Siddhi, Sri Mahalakshmi plays a very important role. In our Shastras, we see several legends that celebrate the glories of Shri. Our Itihasas, our Puranas, the Vedas, the Vedanta. At several places, we see her glory is being celebrated. She was born as daughter of the great sage Bhrigu and Khyati. Therefore, she is known as Bhargavi. We also know how she emerged from Kshiravati. Incidentally, in Bhagavatam, Shukha celebrates this Avirbhava of Shri. Tataschavir sakshat Srihi Shrirama Bhagavat Para, he says. Ranjayanti Dishaskanya Vidyut Saudamini Yatha. The beauty of beauties here is this Avirbhava shloka of Shri is the 8th shloka in the 8th chapter of the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 8.8.8. Therefore, it has taken the form of Ashtakshara Swarupa. Shukha celebrates this Ashtakshara Swarupa, celebrates the emergence of Shri. The legend is very interesting and very popular too, where Durvasa, having gained a divine garland from a Vidyadhara Shri, encounters Indra. Mounted on the Airavata, Indra encounters Durvasa, and Durvasa gifts Indra this garland. And Indra carelessly places the garland on the elephant which then throws it down. Infuriated, incensed Durvasa curses Indra that soon he shall be bereft of all prosperity, all glory, all power for this act of disrespecting his gift, which is the very dwelling of Sri Mahalakshmi. And true to his word, the Devas lose all vigor, all prosperity, all energy, all glory. And the three worlds are taken over by the Danavas. And then eventually, with blessings of Narayana, the Devas, in partnership with the Danavas, begin Ksheerasagara Mathana, churning of the Milky Ocean with Mount Manthara as a churning rod and Vasuki as the snake. Narayana orchestrates this entire churning, and out of the churning, various things emerge. Out comes Surabhi, out comes Parijata, out come Apsaras, out come Halahala, out comes Dhanvantri. And also Sri Mahalakshmi, the Amrita of all Amritas also emerge. While the Devas think that the purpose of the churning of the Ksheerabdi is to secure the Amrita for them, the true purpose was for Narayana to secure the Amrita of all Amritas for himself. And the Leeladhari orchestrates all of these activities. And out emerges the glorious Shri. Tatascha avirbhut sakshat Shri Rama Bhagavat Para, Shuka says. Bhagavat Para, he calls her Bhagavat Para. The one who belongs to Bhagavan, the one who is inseparable from him, who has a very special place on the very divine chest of the Paramatma. Tanjayanti Dishakantya Vidyut Saudamani Yatha. It seems she emerged as a streak of lightning, illuminating the whole place with a glorious luster, resplendence in all directions, captivating everyone. And amidst all chanting of the Vedas and the singing of various hymns, the glorious Shri walks and chooses Bhagavan as a consort and takes her place on the divine chest of Sriman Narayana. Now one may ask, how come one can say that she emerged from Ksheerabdi and she was also born to Bhrigu and Khyati? Parashara explains this very clearly. Parashara says, Nityai Vaisha Jaganmata Vishnoho Shri Ranapayini Yata Sarvagato Vishnu Tathaiveyam Dijottama. He says, Parashara addressing Maitreya says, Nityai Vaisha Jaganmata Vishnoho Shri Ranapayini Yatha Sarvagato Vishnu Tathaiveyam Dijottama. She is the eternal consort of Narayana, ever united, inseparable from him, always one with him. Therefore, there is no birth for her. Just like Narayana, she also takes avatars, takes several forms. But she is always united with him. Nityai Vaisha Jaganmata Vishnoho Shri Ranapayini Yatha Sarvagato Vishnu Tathaiveyam Dijottama. Arto Vishnuriyam Vani Nitiresha Nayo Harihi Bodha Vishnuriyam Buddhi Dharmosau Satriyatviyam. Jaladridvija Govindaha, he says, Tatvela Shrihi Mahamate Jyotsna Lakshmi Pradeeposau Sarva Sarveshwaro Harihi. He explains how she is ever united with Bhagavan all the time, giving beautiful analogies. He says, Artho Vishnu Riyam Vani. Just like how the feminine Vani word is ever united with the masculine Artha, meaning, Shri is ever united with Narayana. Word and its meaning are inseparable. Shri and Narayana are inseparable. Bodho Vishnuriyam Buddhi. Just like how Buddhi, the feminine Buddhi, intellect, is ever united with knowledge, Bodha, Shri is ever united with Narayana. Dharmoso Satkriyatviyam. Dharma and Satkriya, right conduct, are inseparable. Similarly, Shri and Narayana are inseparable. Jaladir-dvija Govindaha Tatvela Shrihi Mahamate. Just like how the shore and the ocean are inseparable, Lakshmi and Narayana are inseparable. Jyotsna Lakshmi Pradeeposau Sarva Sarveshwaro Harihi. The light and the lamp are ever united, are ever inseparable. Similarly, Shri and Narayana are ever inseparable. They're always together. Lakshmi Tattva needs to be understood. Lakshmi Narayana Tattva needs to be understood properly. In order to understand Lakshmi Narayana Tattva, we need to look at both the avatars, the Mukhya avatars, Rama Avatara and Krishna Avatara. And therefore, the two itihasas which capture these two avatars, Ramayana and Mahabharata. Through these itihasas, we can understand the significance and the nature of Lakshmi Tattva, Lakshmi Narayana Tattva. Through Ramayana, we understand the compassion of Sri Mahalakshmi. In fact, the central character of Ramayana is Shri. Sita is a central character of Ramayana and not Rama. Sitayam Charitam Mahat was the original name conceived by Valmiki. Later on, the name got changed to Ramayana. Sitayam Charitam Mahat. It is the story of the great Sita, the great story of Sita Mata. This is where we get to see the unparalleled, immeasurable compassion of Lokamata, who chooses to get imprisoned, who chooses to get jailed for the sake of liberating others. It's very important to understand that Ravana did not capture Sita. Sita let herself be captured by Ravana. She chose to be jailed in order to liberate all the Devakanyas who were jailed in Lanka. And also in the process, also liberate all of us from samsara. Looking at this, possibly Bhagavan decided, now that Shri got to play a central role in Ramayana, now I have to do something. Therefore, he decided that he will play the central role in Mahabharata. And he also decided that he should take birth in a jail. And that's how Mahabharata, his avatara begins from a jail. So, with the two avatars, through Ramayana and Mahabharata, we get to understand the Lakshmi Narayana Tattva, the inseparability. Shri is ever united with Bhagavan, with Narayana all the time. In fact, Lakshmi is the Swarupaka Nirupaka Dharma of Narayana. What is Swarupaka Nirupaka Dharma? A unique attribute which identifies. Any entity needs a unique attribute to be identified. The identifier which uniquely identifies the entity. Swarupaka Nirupaka Dharma. And there should be no defects of Ativyapti and Avyapti. Let me give a couple of examples to understand this better. A cow cannot be identified with an attribute of one with 4 legs because it's a common, it's a generic attribute. It's not a unique identifier. That is Ativyapti. We cannot say that which has wings is a cow. That is Avyapti. This is an attribute that is non-existent, non-applicable. Therefore, in order to uniquely identify an entity, it's Swarupaka Nirupaka Dharma, that unique attribute which has no defects of Ativyapti and Avyapti. Therefore, for Brahman, for Parabrahman, for Paramatma to be uniquely identified, what is that Swarupaka Nirupaka Dharma? Sahasra Sirisha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapad. The Vedas declare who is that Parabrahman. Sahasra Sirisha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapad. Sabhumin Vishpato Vish. And then the Vedas also identify who that Purushottama is, who that Parabrahman is. He is Chade Lakshmi Chatpatnyau. He is Lakshmipati, he is Shriyapati. Shriyapatitva is unique identifier. To identify Brahman, Parabrahman, Paramatma, Shri Mahalakshmi is that Swarupaka Nirupaka Dharma. That is the unique attribute with which one can identify who is that Paramatma. And incidentally, while Bhagavan, Paramatma, the Parabrahman takes several forms: Para, Vyuha, Vibhava, Antaryami, Archa. Bhagavan has 5 forms. Para, his form in Sri Vaikuntha. Vyuha, his form in Kshirabdhi. Vibhava, the various avatars that he takes. Antaryami, his presence within each and every entity in this universe. The indweller, the indwelling entity, the inner controller. And Archa, the various forms of his, the various temples which are easily accessible to us, to worship him, to relate with him, to connect with him easily, is Archa Vigraha Swarupas. In all these forms, Sri Mahalakshmi is ever united with him, inseparable from him. The great Markandeya Rishi, he wanted to experience the Yogamaya of Narayana. And he prayed to Narayana to grant him this wish of experiencing that fantastic power of his, the Maya. Narayana immediately created a deluge, kind of a pralaya. The 3 worlds were flooded, and all of a sudden, Markandeya, who was praying, was inundated from all sides. And as he was wading through the cosmic waters, he witnessed everything being annihilated, experiencing what pralaya could be. And then all of a sudden, he sees a banyan leaf. And on that banyan leaf, he also sees a charming, electrifyingly beautiful, enchanting, effulgent infant. Kararavindena padaravindam, mukaravinde vinideshayantam, patasya patrasya puteshayanam, balam mukundam manasasmata. Bala Mukunda. We all, the Mukundashtaka celebrates this glorious Leela of Bhagavan. Kararavindena padaravindam, mukharavinde viniveshayantam, vatasya patrasya puteshayanam. With his lotus-like hand, Bhagavan, Sri Krishna, was holding the lotus-like leg. And the lotus-like toe was in his lotus-like mouth. And Markandeya, enchanted by this form, mesmerized, he also found the entire universe within the body of that little infant there. But he was perplexed as to who could this be. And as he was about to inquire as to who could this miraculous form be, this little infant, the Lord did only one thing. Just pointed to his chest where on the Srivatsamar, Sri Mahalakshmi was situated, identifying who he was. Swarupaka Nirupaka Dharma. So in every form that he takes, Shri is ever united. Nityaivaisha Jaganmata Vishnoho Shri Ranapai. Yatha Sarvagato Vishnuhu Tatheveyam Vichottama. She's ever united, constantly united with him, inseparable from him all the time. And such is that glory of Sri Mahalakshmi. Ahamta Brahmanastasya Sahamasmi Sanatani. Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi herself declares, in Lakshmi Tantra, she herself declares, she says, Ahamta Brahmanastasya Sahamasmi Sanatani, she says. He is Sanatana, Narayana, I am Sanatani. Ahamta Brahmanastasya, she says. Ahamta. Ahamta. Ahamta is the thought that I am, that aham, the principle aham. So aham and ahamta can never be separated. If there is aham, there has to be ahamta. There is the thought that I am that principle aham. And if there is ahamta, there has to be aham. So therefore, Sri Mahalakshmi herself declares, Ahamta Brahmanastasya Sahamasmi Sanatani, she says. So, she is Ahamta, Bhagavan is Aham, which is like saying Narayana is the sun and Sri Mahalakshmi is the sun rays. Always together. Her unique property, unique attribute of Bhagavan. Bhagavati is unique attribute of Bhagavan. Therefore, if Bhagavan's glories are limitless, Bhagavati's glories also have to be limitless. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. The Vedas themselves say we try to capture all the glories of Bhagavan, but we ourselves concede defeat, they say. How can we capture limitlessness, the limitless glories with words? If such is the case, how can we, mere mortals, conceive the limitless glories of Bhagavati? The great Acharya, Yamunacharya, therefore, in his prayers, praying to Sri Mahalakshmi, says, Kantaste Purushottamaha Panipatihi Shayyasanam Vahanam. Vedatma Vihageshwaro Yavanika Maya Jaganmohini. Brahmeshadi Suraprajaha Sadayitaha Dasa Dasi Ganaha. Shririteva Chanamate Bhagavati Brumaha Katam Tvam Mayam. Bhagavati Brumaha Katam Tvam Mayam. Hey Bhagavati, how can we mere mortals conceive your limitless glories? He addresses her as Bhagavati. Bhagavati, Bhagavan. Jnana Shakti Balaishwarya Virya Tejam Saseshataha Bhagavat Shabdavachyani Vinaheye Gunadibihi. Bhagavan is called Bhagavan because of the 6 opulences. Unmatched gunas. Jnana Shakti Bala Aishwarya Virya Tejas. And she is Bhagavati, who matches him in each of his gunas. Bhagavan Narayana Bhimata Anurupa Swarupa Rupa Guna Vibhavaishwarya Sheela Dhanapadikadishaya Asankheya Kalyana Gunaganam Patmanalayam Bhagavati. Acharya Ramanuja echoes the same message. Hey Bhagavati, you match Bhagavan in each and every Kalyana Guna of his. You are the perfect match. Therefore, you are Bhagavati. You and you only can be called Bhagavati. Tulya Sheela Vayovrittam Tulya Vijana Lakshanam Raghavo Arhati Vaidehi Tvam Chayam Asitekshana. Great Bhakta Anjaneya looks at Sita and makes the statement. Now, until he went to Lanka, Hanuman was always wondering, why is this Rama so much attached to Sita? What is so special about Sita Mata? Possibly Rama chose him to make him understand the glory of Sita Mata. After crossing over Lanka, Hanuman finally goes and meets Sita Mata. Then the moment he sees, then his thinking completely changes. Now he says, how come Rama can ever even live for a moment separated from such a glorious Mata? Tulya Sheela Vayovrittam Tulya Vijana Lakshana. She, in her Rupa, Swarupa, Guna, in her conduct, she is unmatched. She not only matches Rama in each and every facet, she is possibly even greater than Rama himself. Raghavo Arhati Vaidehi Tvamcha Iyam Asitekshana. Asitekshana. Once again, looking at her eyes. Rama's Pundarikaksha. But here, Hanuman ends only by commenting, describing Sita's eyes. He talks about Rama and Sita being comparable in all the gunas, rupas, saundarya, in all facets. But when it comes to after looking at her eyes, Hanuman falls short, going further. Asitekshana, eyes filled with compassion. Because Hanuman possibly knows Anadi Madhyantam Ananta Viryam Anantabahum Shashisurya Netram. In the Gita, Krishna's Swarupa is explained vividly. Anantabahum Shashisurya Netram. Bhagavan has one eye which is like scorching rays of sun, and the other eye is like the cooling rays of the moon. From one, scorching rays power comes out, from the other, the cooling grace streams forth. Whereas in the case of Sita Mata, Asitekshana, both her eyes are only streaming the cooling grace, compassion. And therefore, Bhagavati, you are in every facet, in all terms, in all ways, you match your Bhagavan. And the Acharya calls her Kantas and says, Kantaste Purushottamaha. Your Kanta, he doesn't say Bharta, he says Kantaste Purushottamaha. Your consort is none other than Purushottama, Uttama Purushaspanyaha Paramatme Tudahritayo Lokatrayamavishya Vibhatti Avyaya Ishvaraha. Atosmi Loke Vedeja Pratitaha Purushottamaha. The Vedas call him Purushottama. And your consort is none other than that Purushottama. But instead of calling Bhatta, he calls Kanta. Why? To bring out that unbounded love, unconditional love between the two. Kantaste Purushottamaha Paripatihi Shayyasanam Pahanam Vedatma Vyageshwaraha. Adisesha is your couch and your recliner. Garudman, who is the very embodiment of Vedas, is also your throne and your vehicle. Vedatma Vyageshwaraha Yamanika Maya Jaganmohini. This Prakriti, which is called Maya, which completely obfuscates the Jiva, shouts the knowledge. Such a powerful Maya is under your control. Yamanika, it creates a curtain for a Jivatma, and such a powerful Maya. Daivihesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratkeya. Krishna says that Maya, which is very difficult to overcome, it's formidable, almost impossible. That Maya is under your control. Yavanika Maya Jaganmohini. Brahmadesha, Suraganaha, all the Devas, they all seek your mercy. And he goes on to say, Shirityeva Namate Bhagavati Brumaha Katam Tvam Vayam. That one nama of yours, Shrihi, one akshara, contains all the essence of your glories. If one can comprehend that essence, Shriryeva Namate Bhagavati Brumaha Katam Tvam Vayam. How can we ever conceive your limitless glories? Possibly the only way is to comprehend that one Nama, Shri, which is the very essence of all your glories. Shrinati Nikilan Doshan, Shrinati cha Gunair Jagat, Shriyate Akilair Nityam, Shayate cha Param Padam. Shrinati, Shayate, Shravayate, Shrunoti, Shravayati. There are 6 ways to understand the essence of Shri. Shrinati, Akilair Nitya, Shrinati cha Gunair Jagat. Shrinati, the one who dispels all darkness, who removes all our papakarmas. Shrinati, one who promotes goodness and prosperity. Shriyate Akhilair Nityam, the one who is resorted to. Shrayate, she is the one who resorts Narayana on behalf as a mediator. Shrunoti Shravayati. Shrunoti, the one who listens to all the bhaktas. Shravayati, once she listens, then she carries the message to Bhagavan. Therefore, she is a mediator. She is a mediator between every Jivatma and the Paramatma. And therefore, she is Shrihi. And this Shri is celebrated in the Vedas. Hiranyavarnam Harinim Suvarna Rajatasrajam Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedo Maavaha. Jatavedaha here is not just Agni, Jatavedaha is Narayana. asking Narayana, praying to Narayana, may we be blessed by Shri, your consort. No, Hiranya here is not just gold, it is all auspiciousness. Harini is not just being mesmerizingly beautiful. Harini also, one who guides, who supports Hari. One who participates in all his activities. And one who removes all our papas. Such is the glory of Shri. That is how the Vedas celebrate the glory of Shri Mahalakshmi. Now, what is her principal role, if we have to understand? Her principal role, her Swarupa is Purushakaratva. And her Swabhava is Kripa or Prasada. We have to take an analogy to understand her Swabhava and her Swarupa. If a person falls down in a deep well and is unable to come out, so you need a rescuer who then comes in and throws a rope. The rope is needed for this person, and this person needs to hold on to the rope, and even after holding on to the rope, the rescuer needs to pull the rope so that this person can be rescued and he can come out of this deep well. Now this pulling of the rope and this person rescuing him is Kripa. Now Prasada is going one step further. This rescuer has a partner who out of compassion gets into the well, deep into the well, and holds on to this person. And instead of he holding on to the rope, this partner as a rescuer holds on to this person, and then together with the rescuer brings this person up and rescues him. This is one step going beyond Kripa, which is grace, to saving grace, which is Prasada. Bhagavan runs the universe based on his Nigraha Shakti. He is the Sarva Niyanta, the ordainer. He ensures that everyone gets rewarded or otherwise based on their own merits and demerits. He runs this universe based on Nigraha Shakti. Shri converts this Nigraha Shakti into Anugraha Shakti. Her willingness to forgive influences his will. This is what the Shastras call that Shri is the Purushakara. She is the Purushakara, the one who intervenes on our behalf, plays the role of a mediator between every Jiva and Paramatma. A very important role that she plays. Because with all the baggage of papas accumulated over several lifetimes, it becomes almost impossible for us to stop doing, to stop wrongdoing, knowingly or unknowingly. And therefore, we need that compassion and the kataksha, which can dispel the darkness in us and correct us and bring us on the right path. And this is what Shri Mahalakshmi does for us, the Lokamata. Purusham karoti iti purushakaraha. What is purushakara? Purusham karoti iti purushakaraha. To make the Purusha, Purusha is Purushakara. No, Bhagavan is Purusha, is Purushottama. Every Jiva is also Purusha. Bhagavan is Purusha. Purusanoti iti Purushaha. Purusanoti iti Purushaha. He keeps on giving bountifully, and therefore he is Purusha. Now, in order for him to continue giving, Sri Mahalakshmi plays the role of Purushakara, the mediator. Shri does not focus on the wrongs that we have committed. She is just focused on where our heart is committed. As long as our heart is committed, that is enough for her. Her compassion is so expansive that she is ready to forgive and reform, and she engages in reforming each and every one, bringing each and every one in the right direction. So every Purusha is made a real Purusha to understand the right direction and get connected with the Purushottama. That is the role of Purushakara that she plays. And her Kataksha is indispensable. Ishatvat karuna nirikshana sudha sandukshana trakshate nashtam prak tadalabataha tribhuvanam sampratya nantodayam. Now Yamunacharya in Chatushloki he says, without your Kataksha, Sridevi, there can be no goodness. There can be no goodness. There can be no prosperity. In all the three worlds, it is only your Kataksha that dispels all the darkness and brings in all the goodness. Now it seems when Sudama was persuaded by his wife to approach Krishna in order to come out of acute poverty, Sudama, with a lot of hesitation, not knowing what to ask his old friend, not knowing what to expect, reached all the way and reached Dwaraka. Knowing Sudama's arrival, Bhagavan rushed to meet his friend, his dear friend. Krishna rushed all the way, received Sudama with all warmth. Sudama was overwhelmed with the welcome that he received. Bhagavan made him to sit on a throne, and he personally attended to him, served him. Krishna washed Sudama's feet with tears of love and affection. And as Krishna was engaged in serving his friend, Rukmini Devi also participated. And incidentally, she served Sudama with the chamara. It is possibly to wipe out all his poverty that Sri Mahalakshmi decided to engage in the service of fanning Sudama. And it seems Rukmini asked Krishna as to from which direction Sudama came from. He did not ask from which town Sudama came from. All she asked was from which direction. And then Krishna pointed out to the direction from which Sudama came from. Now all that she did was just turn around and look at the direction. And that glance, gentle glance, was enough to provide abundance, not just to Sudama, but to that entire direction. And the rest, we know what happened when Sudama went back. In fact, Krishna did not give him anything when he was going back. And Sudama also did not understand, and he did not even ask for. All that Krishna did was to tightly hug Sudama. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukha says, when Krishna tightly hugged, and in that process, Krishna also ensured that Sri Mahalakshmi on his Vakshasthala also blessed Sudama adequately. Blessed him with all abundance. Therefore, Irshatvat Karuna Nirikshana Sudha Sandukshanat Rakshate. Acharya says, Yamanacharya says, when your nectar-like Kataksha showers, that blessing alone is enough for all kinds of abundance. All kinds of abundance in all the three worlds. That is the glory of the Kataksha of Shri. And that is the central role that Sri Mahalakshmi plays. Shri is called Lakshmi. Lakshati iti Lakshmi. Lakshati. Because she is constantly contemplating on the welfare of all. That is why she is Lakshmi. Lakshati iti Lakshmi. Also, the Lakara, Lakshmi is made out of Lakara, Lakara, Kshakara and Makara. The Lakara stands for Laya. Kshakara stands for Sthiti. And Makara stands for Srishti. Therefore, Lakshmi is the one who is the embodiment of Ichha Shakti of Bhagavan, which impels Prakriti to carry out Srishti, Sthiti and Samhara. Lakshati iti Lakshmi. She also happens to be the goal of all the yogis. Therefore, she is Lakshmi. Labhaha iti Lakshmi. She was acquired by Bhagavan when she emerged out of Kshirapti. She is the Amrita of all Amritas. Labha iti Lakshmi. Lakshanat iti Lakshmi. Lakshanat. She is the sole identification of Bhagavan. Therefore, she is Lakshmi. Lapsyanat iti Lakshmi. She is the one who is sought after for all kinds of abundance. Lanchanat iti Lakshmi. She expresses her presence on the divine chest of Sri Mahavishnu. Therefore, she is Lanchanat iti Lakshmi. Lasate iti Lakshmi. She illumines with her luster. Hiranyavarunam Parinimi. Golden hue, splendor that illumines, dispels all darkness. Lasate iti Lakshmi. Lagyate iti Lakshmi. Eternally associated with Mahavishnu. Therefore, she is Lakshmi. Lajjate iti Lakshmi. In spite of constantly giving, in spite of constantly taking care of the welfare of all, overlooking all the offenses committed, she is still very modest because she wants to only give more, more and more. That is the reason why our Shastras at length celebrate the unparalleled compassion. She is the very source of compassion for Bhagavan. And if we have to understand this Swarupa and Swabhava of Sri Mahalakshmi, the Swarupa of Purushakaratva and Swabhava of Kripa, Prasada, where else can we go to other than Ramayana? It is here that we see that whenever Sita Mata is present, Bhagavan Rama always only protects and forgives. He never engages in any destruction. But in her absence, we see all the battles, all the wars happen. Therefore, her Purushakaratva becomes very evident. For Sharanagati to be fruitful, her Purushakaratva is central, is indispensable. When Lakshmana surrendered to Rama, Lakshmana's Sharanagati was successful only because of Sita Mata's presence. Her mediation. She already decided beforehand Agratatte Gamishyami. Vrutnanti Kushakantakan. Sita already made a decision. When Rama decided to go to forest, Sita Mata made a decision that she would also go along with him. And not just go along with him, lead him. Agratatte Gamishyami. Vrutnanti Kushakantakan. She says, hey Rama, I already know that someday or the other we have to venture into Vanavasa, and therefore I'm already prepared. And I shall lead you. I shall lead you and clear all the thorns and the stones and make the path easy for you to walk on, she says. She takes the lead. And Lakshmana's Sharanagati to Rama was fruitful because Sita Mata already made her mind that she would also go along with Rama. Guha's Sharanagati was also fruitful because of presence of Sita Mata. Sugriva Sharanagati. One may ask, Sita Mata was in Lanka, but Sita Mata ensured by dropping the bag of jewels right on Rishyamukha Parvata and making it available to Sugriva and the Vanaras, bringing the association with her, thereby ensuring that Sugriva Sharanagati also can be fulfilled. There also we see the Purushakaratva of Shri. Vibhishana's Sharanagati. Vibhishana, when Rama was going back in the Pushpaka Vimana, Rama wanted Sita to look at Lanka. Rama explains each and every place in Lanka as they fly. He wants Sri Sita Mata to bless Lanka adequately. Her Kataksha was indispensable. He wants, because Vibhishana is going to rule Lanka, and therefore her Kataksha is needed. Therefore, we see that Rama requesting Sita to look at each and every place within Lanka. One may ask, how is Vibhishana's Saranagati can be deemed fulfilled without her presence? In fact, it is for this purpose that Sita Mata decided to go to Lanka ahead of Rama. It is for the purpose of liberating all the Devakanyas, ensuring that Vibhishana Sharanagati gets fulfilled, that she chooses to get captured and imprisoned. Therefore, Vibhishana Sharanagati also has the role of Sita's Purushakaratva. Now, when it comes to Abhaya Pradhana, when it comes to Vatsalya, Sita Mata goes one step ahead of Rama. Bhagavati goes one step ahead of Bhagavan. After the war and Ravana Samhara, Hanuman goes to Ashokavana. And Hanuman now looks at all the Rakshasis who have been tormenting Sita. So Hanuman decides this is the time to teach them a lesson. All those who have been tormenting Sita should now be punished, should be killed. Therefore, Hanuman approaches Sita Mata and says, Mata, allow me, give me the permission. Give me the permission to destroy all these Rakshasis. Now, Sita Mata says, Apanamba, Shubhanamba, Padarhanam, Lavangaba. Karyam Karunyamartena. Nakaschita Aparadhyati, she says. A very, very profound declaration. She says, who has not committed any offense in this world here, Hanuman? Can you show me one who has not committed any offense? Everybody engages in wrongdoing. Everybody commits offenses. So therefore, we must always show compassion by overlooking these offenses. Now Hanuman says, Mata, if you say everybody commits offenses, what about Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra? Sita Mata replies, of course, he too has to be counted in. He too has committed an offense. He broke the solemn pledge made to Agni Bhagavan at the time of Vivaha, that he shall not be separated from me. He shall always be together with me, protecting me. And he committed that offense of breaking that pledge to Agni. Then Hanuman looks at Sita and says, then what about you, Sita Mata? Sita says, I too have committed an offense. By talking about my husband with a stranger like you, I too have committed an offense. Then Hanuman says, what about me, Mata? What offense have I committed? Sita says, your offense is to get readying yourself to punish and kill all these Rakshasis. And Hanuman says, why should I not? They have not anyway taken refuge in me. Why should I not punish them? Why should I not kill them? After all, they have not taken refuge. So therefore, I have no obligation to protect them. This is where Sita demonstrates that it is not only those who take refuge, but each and every one, by recognizing their utter helplessness, one should show one's compassion. This is where he goes one step ahead of Rama. Rama declared, Sakradeva papannaya tavasmiti chayachate abhayam sarvabhutebhyo dadamyetat pratam mama. Whoever takes refuge in me, whoever surrenders to me, I take a solemn pledge that I shall protect them, come what may. Rama's pledge is protect those who surrendered to him, who have taken refuge in him. Sita Mata goes one step further and says, I shall protect those, each and everyone, whether they have surrendered to me, whether they have taken refuge in me or not, whether they have committed an offense or not committed an offense. Papanam va shubhanam va vadarhanam plavangam. Doesn't matter. I know that the jivas are pulled in different directions by their own past conditioning. They are being controlled by their power of their own papa karmas. And therefore, with the greatest of compassion, I shall give them the opportunity to reform. And therefore, I shall shower my compassion on each and every living being without any prerequisite. No, this shows the height of Vatsalya. This shows the abundance of compassion of Lokamata. And that is the reason why she is considered as the very source of Bhagavan's compassion. And that is the reason why her presence is indispensable in the process of protection. Her Purushakaratva, her Daya, her Prasada become integral in the process of Bhagavan's protection. And that is the reason why our Shastras say we need to approach the Lokamata. We need to approach Shri before we approach Narayana. We need to surrender to her, submit ourselves to her in order for our Sharanagati to Bhagavan to be fruitful. It is through her, she being the supreme mediator who can connect us. Shastras say She is the Ukara between the Akara and Makara in the Omkara. Akaravacho Vishnu. Bhagavan Narayana is Akara. Akara stands for Narayana. Makara stands for every Jiva. And Sri Mahalakshmi being the Ukara in the Omkara, right in the middle, connects every Jivatma with the Paramatma and ensures that the Jivatma is protected. What is protect? What is Raksha here? Ishtaprapti, Anishta Nivritti. So when you say Anishta Nivritti, we can loosely define Anishtas as all our desires that we would want, all our dislikes, basically, all the worldly dislikes. But that is not the the Anishtam that we need to understand here. When it comes to Rakshaka, in Raksha of Bhagavan, he is Rakshaka who ensures Anishta Nivritti. The Anishta here is Dukkhas, Jara, Janma, Marana, Samsara. Anishta is Moksha Prapti. So therefore, Raksha here, he is Rakshaka who ensures all the Anishtas of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukkha, all the doshas. Anishta Nivritti, Anishta Prapti grants moksha. And in this process, Shri, who is ever inseparable, ever united with Bhagavan, with Narayana, plays a very important role as Purushakara. And with her Kataksha, ensures that we all get taken care of. Just like a mother nourishes her child, the Lokamata nourishes each and every one of us in order for our victory in this very world and also fulfill the purpose of taking birth in this very world. Sanjaya, towards the end of Gita, declares, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Danuddaraha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutihi, Drivanitir Matir Mama. He says, where there is Arjuna and where there is Yogeshwara Krishna. Arjuna stands for the Jivatma. When the Jivatma always stays connected with the Yogeshwara, he says, Tatra Shri Vijay, Tatra Shrihi, Vijaya, Bhutihi, Dhrivaniti. Will always, all of this are guaranteed, he says. Now here, the Yogeshwara is Sri Krishna. Krishna, who is ever united with Sri, he is Sriman Narayana. The Paramatma, together with Sri, his divine consort, who is inseparable, ever united with him. When the Jivatma is ever connected with Sriman Narayana, Shri, fortune, all kinds of wealth, health, knowledge, all kinds of prosperity, Vijaya, victory, success in life, which is attaining moksha. Bhutihi, all kinds of prosperity. Dhrivaniti, eternal righteousness. Order in the universe. All of this are always guaranteed. Therefore, let us prostrate to Sri Mahalakshmi, who is the very embodiment of immeasurable compassion, and pray to her for the success of our Sharanagati and pray to her for not only this worldly success, but the true success, which is moksha. Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.